Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome in to this Tuesday live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Powered by Chad Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We got a big show ahead today. We're going to talk about Trey Smith and his contract. Those details coming out just a couple of hours ago as he is locked in, not going anywhere, staying with the Kansas City Chiefs for the next 4 seasons. And then we'll get to our segments today. We're going to look ahead to training camp, which starts next week. I got a list of my top 5 rookies to watch at Chiefs training camp. Also go over some free agent targets, some players Kansas City could sign before camp begins. And then we'll wrap up our final segment, do a Q&A rumors mailbag. Go ahead and start getting your questions in now using hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting to get on today's program. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling here on this Tuesday. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios in beautiful downtown Dallas, Texas on this very fine Tuesday. Let us know where you guys are at. I got Richard in Wakini, Kansas. Marco says, hey, Tyler Jones, I am like a Vikings, but I still love the Chiefs. Well, welcome, Marcos, even if you may be a Vikings fan. Tony says, Big Tex, when it comes to my fitness journey, how many years can I go on? Bit of a loaded question. We'll bring Big Tex in momentarily and get his thoughts. Tony checking in from San Antonio. Got Paul in Tonganoxie. Michael is in Manhattan. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael, that you're in Manhattan, Kansas, the home of Kansas State. Although I'll say, Manhattan's not a bad town. Manhattan's not a bad town. I do love Varsity Donuts there in Manhattan. It's no Lawrence, though. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. You guys are like an hour from Topeka? You're 2 hours from Kansas City? Like, goodness. Aggieville's not a bad time in Manhattan, though. I'll give you that. One of my bosses here, unfortunately, he went to Kansas State, but he still gave me a job, so I can't hold it against him too much. I got Chuck in Olathe. I like Olathe. Olathe's not a bad town. The Kansas City Joe's locations I would frequent the most when I lived out there was typically the Olathe one because that was usually the less busy location. If you go to the actual gas station original, you're going to be waiting all day to go to that KC Joe's there. Let's see. Marcos says Webb City, home of the Cardinals. They got a really good high school football program there in Webb City. Lanny is in Cherryvale, Kansas. Jeremy is in Wichita. Richard, I am not going to say those words, but thank you for checking in, Richard. Mark is in Paragould, Arkansas. Good to see you, Mark. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you all joining us. What is your one-word reaction to the Trey Smith contract news? Let me go over those details in case you guys missed it. We have a video that's up on the channel now where you can see our instant reaction to that news coming out a couple of hours ago. Trey Smith gets a 4-year, $94 million deal with $70 million guaranteed, making him the highest-paid guard in the NFL. Here's this tweet earlier today from Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports saying the deal for Chiefs guard Trey Smith is 4 years and $94 million per source. Highest-paid guard in NFL history. The deal gives him $70 million in total guarantees. And by the way, his cap number gets lowered quite a bit. Comparably speaking, if he was going to play on the franchise tag, the number, let me pull this up here, just to kind of give you an idea, folks. Trey Smith, his cap number now goes down to $14.25 million, which means the Chiefs are saving $9.15 million against the cap for this upcoming season compared to had he played on the franchise tag. So now all of a sudden you got Trey Smith locked up and you got $9 million more to your disposal to spend. So I would say that worked out pretty good. I know it's a lot of money for Trey Smith. 4 years, $94 million with all that guaranteed money. $70 million in guaranteed money. The most ever for an offensive guard. The most ever in guaranteed money as well. But my one word, I am relieved by this news. What is your one-word reaction? Tony says huge. Chuck says, finally. Tex, let's bring you in on this. You've been following this story. We've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. One of the reasons why you subscribe to Kansas City Chiefs Report. We told you the news from our boy Slick Rick, Pretty Ricky, about a week or so ago that this was in the works, that this was going to get done, and it did get done. Paul says huge. Tex, your thoughts on Trey Smith getting that record-breaking contract? What you think?
Good. That'd be one. Another one-word reaction would be ideal.
Yeah.
For sure. Because, like you said, you take care of a position that, I want to say was up in the air, but it gives you some more peace of mind knowing that one of your cornerstone pieces of your offensive line is now been extended, and you're not playing this waiting game anymore, trying to figure out how to get a deal done with him. Brett Veach did it again, so credit to the general manager of the Chiefs, proving again why he is one of, if not the best, general managers in the NFL. But yeah, I would say one word: ideal / good. Or make it one word by putting a slash and cheating.
I'm excited. I'm
excited.
Glad
That's a good one.
And one of the things I talked about in the video today was it wasn't a guarantee. You go back to March, they thought that he was going to walk in free agency.
Right.
And we saw how the Orlando Browns situation played out a couple of years ago where they didn't get a deal done by the deadline. He left the next offseason. And then you still got Nick Bolton re-signed too. I think, all things considered, you didn't have a ton of money entering free agency here. Brett Veach did an incredible job to navigate all this.
No doubt. I mean, obviously we're very happy that Trey Smith didn't walk in free agency, and then, like you said, we signed other players like Nick Bolton, and I do wonder with teams like, let me give you a side example, like if the Dallas Cowboys had a general manager as adept at his job as Brett Veach, I feel like every Cowboys fan would be going to bed at night sleeping well because they would, they would have peace of mind knowing that the general manager knows what the hell they're doing running their football team. They don't because they have Jerry Jones and he's a lunatic. But
yeah, he still hasn't paid Micah Parsons yet,
which is crazy.
And he waited too long to pay CD and Dak and cost him money.
Yeah, he's the king of waiting too long and not being the one to reset the market himself. It's crazy.
I did hear somebody in the office today, I think it was Tom Downing, that said the Cowboys have one of the most stable front offices in the league. Stable because everyone's there, but they should not be there.
Correct.
Maybe not mentally stable.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, front office stability, sure, but ineptitude is rampant through that front office, so it doesn't matter how stable it is if none of the people know how to do their jobs correctly at a high level.
Yeah.
So.
That's a great point. All right, we got about 30 people in the building so far. We would like more people to be here and join us and talk Chiefs football as we are just over a week away from training camp starting. If you would like a shout-out from Big Tex, all you got to do is spam C in the chat. Let's get as many C's as we can over this next minute, and Big Tex will shout you out and show you some love, and we'll find out who the early favorite is to be the MVP here on today's show. So go ahead and start spamming the C's. And before we do that, you can go ahead and answer Tony's question of
okay.
What was the workout question he asked? Let's see. Big Tex, when it comes to my fitness journey, how many years can I go on? As long as you want, right?
That's one answer, but I have an even better answer for you, Tony, that you may or may not like, but it is the God-honest truth. The answer is forever. You never stop. You know why? You want to live longer? You want to be healthier? You want to look better? You want to get the biatches out there? Okay? Work out every day until you die.
Yeah.
And you live longer if you do that, Tony. So the answer is forever, and I hope that excites you because that means you get to work out today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 5 decades from now, forever, Tony.
Forever young.
Don't let me down, Tony. I'm counting on you to work out every day.
Forever young. Do you really want to live forever? Forever. All right, go ahead and start spamming C in the chat. Tex is going to shout them out. Let's get as many C's as we can over this next minute. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they're off.
Tony, work out forever. Caleb, Paul, Tony, Iko, I think, Marcos, Caleb, Paul, Tony. Get those C's going. Apologize. Wrong show. Paul, Mike, Tony, Paul, Tony, Mike, Paul, Caleb. What's up, Caleb? How you doing, brother? Tony, Paul, Iko. Hope I'm saying that right. Chuck, Paul, Cole, Marcos, Tony, Caleb, Chuck, Iko. Paul, Chuck. What's up, Chuck? Caleb, Paul, Iko, Tony, Chuck, Paul. Let's get some new names in there. Spam C. Mark, Spam, and Mark. That works too, but Spam C, brother. Iko, Caleb, Richard, Tony. Says forever workouts. That's right. You never stop. Grind never stops. Iko, Caleb, Tony, Marcos, Tony, Paul, Iko, Paul, Caleb, Tony, Pizza Boy. That's a new name. What's up? What kind of pizza you like? Richard, Iko, Paul, Tony, Richard, Caleb, Iko,
seconds.
Richard. Finish strong. Iko, Richard, Tony, Caleb, Richard, Paul, Iko, Paul, Tony. Workout forever, Tony, Caleb, Richard, Paul, Marcos.
There we go.
Good stuff.
Workout forever. I saw somebody say C for congratulations to Trey Smith. If you see Trey Smith around, let him buy you dinner. I saw another stat of this new contract text.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to make, for the next 4 years, every day, not just during football season, but every day, $60,000 a day. Must be nice.
Must be nice. That's
He's not struggling for money.
No.
All right. In our final segment, we will be doing a mailbag where you guys can submit questions to us, and we'll answer them. The quicker you get your questions to us, the better. We don't have to wait around to start the mailbag segment. So please, by all means, get as many questions as you can now. That way we can start the mailbag segment as quick as possible. Tex, how can people submit their questions to the mailbag segment?
Great question. So, we're going to have a mailbag, like Tyler said, which means we need you guys to ask, let me stress this, relevant questions about the Kansas City Chiefs as it pertains to the team, the roster, coaching staff, whether it's Andy Reid, you want to talk about Spags, anybody else, free agency, a trade, anything you have in mind about the Chiefs, please ask your question using hashtag Chiefs, pardon me.
Just like what Marcos did.
That's right. Good job, Marco. Hashtag Chiefs, a space, and then your question, or the more common way, question first, space, and then hashtag Chiefs together. Or, one more thing, if you super chat, you'll get priority in the mailbag, which means we'll put you at the beginning of the mailbag segment because you super chatted. So if you send in any amount, put your question in, you'll get priority and guaranteed spot at the beginning of the mailbag, and you won't get missed out on with your question. Thank you.
That sound like a deal? I think that sounds like a deal, folks. Get your questions in now using hashtag Chiefs Super Chatting, and we'll answer those at the end of today's show. We're at 11 likes right now. You know what? Just get me to 20. Just get me to 20, and then we'll start today's show. I'll crack open a cold beer when we get there as well. 9 more likes. 8 more now. We're at 12. Type me in the chat when you like the video as well, and I will shout you out for doing your part in liking today's video. So by all means, please hit that like button. As our friend Smitty likes to say, it's the right thing to do when you enter somebody else's home. It's like taking your shoes off, is by hitting that like button. Certainly helps us out. Tony liked the video. Mike liked the video. Paris liked the video. We're at 17. I need 3 more, and we'll be good to go to get this thing started. Marcos liked the video. He says he's ready for Madden 26. I'll be honest, I barely played Madden 25. I felt like I may have wasted my money on that. Richard liked it. Mark liked it. Cole liked it. We're at 18. 2 more. 2 more, and then we can get this show started. Mike, Mark, there we go. And now I'll crack open a beer. Today, we're going Coors Light, which is they pay Patrick Mahomes a decent amount of money. So maybe I'm contributing to Patrick's wallet by drinking this, potentially speaking. So cheers to everybody out there. Go Chiefs. All right. There we go. Anna liked the video. Thank you, Anna, for doing that as well. All right, here's what's coming up here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We're going to talk about the top rookies to watch with training camp around the corner. We'll also go over some free agent targets, some players the Chiefs could sign before training camp begins, and we will do a Q&A rumors mailbag as well. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. If you would like to Super Chat us, here is what we're offering today. $sign next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute. First-time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5 will give you a beer cheers. $10 get some shots. $20 get bean boozled. $50 will do a beer bong. Super Chats get priority. for the mailbag segment that we'll be bringing you at the end of today's show. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Begin with our first segment, training camp around the corner, beginning in just a few days. We will talk about the top 5 rookies to watch at Chiefs training camp, tell you who those individuals are, and more coming up as we get started. Here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, Tyler Jones, Big Tex here with you. Segment numero uno begins right now. Chiefs training camp is almost here, and there are new faces and new places on this Kansas City Chiefs roster. An exciting rookie class, to say the least. What we're going to do here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report is give you our top 5 rookies to watch at Chiefs training camp in St. Joe. We'll go over that full list, tell you more about them coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. With Chiefs training camp almost here, if you're ready for Chiefs football, smash that like button. Please hit that like button. Look, here's the deal, folks. When we get new players coming in here, you know what happens? They watch this show. Their friends, their family members watch this show. They want to see what we have to say about them and what the fan base has to say about them. We need to let our voices be heard loud and clear that we are rooting on all these rookies, that they have our full support, that we want to see them succeed here in Kansas City. Hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. The Kansas City Chiefs rookies, along with the rest of the veterans, are set to report to training camp here in the coming days ahead, and it's going to be a little bit different. In the past, what we've seen is that when it comes to Chiefs training camp, the quarterbacks and the rookies usually report together, and then the veterans report after that. Instead, they're changing course where everybody's going to report at the same time. On today's show, let's go over these top 5 most intriguing players to watch at Chiefs training camp. And by the way, let me say this before we go any further. My 5, I'm not saying are the best 5 players. My rankings here are the ones that have my attention the most, that I'll be following the closest here in the coming weeks ahead. So let's begin at the wide receiver position with the 4th-round pick, Jalen Royals, out of Utah State. I think he is the most fascinating rookie to watch out of this class because there's a great unknown here with Jalen Royals. What exactly is he going to be for the Kansas City Chiefs? Will Royals use himself as an explosive receiver that they stretch the field? Will he be more of a possession guy? Because he can really do both. The potential is there for Jalen Royals. And I think if all goes according to plan, then Jalen Royals very well could be your number 4 receiver and pass up Juju Smith-Schuster on the depth chart. But he's got to earn it. He's got to earn his stripes and prove it over the coming weeks ahead. And training camp and the preseason will be a big opportunity for him to do so. Let's get to know Jalen Royals a little bit further here. A 4th-round pick out of Utah State. In 2023, he was a first-team All-Mountain West Conference selection. And last year, he was a bit banged up. But even with that said, he still was named to the 2nd-team All-Mountain West Conference list. And you look at his numbers here, folks. In his 2 seasons of production, he was very strong. In 2023, in 13 games played, had over 1,000 yards receiving, 15 total touchdowns, with 15.2 yards reception. Last year, he got banged up, but he still made an impact despite missing a decent number of games, playing in 7, with 55 catches, 834 yards. His yards per catch was the same year to year at 15.2 and still had 6 touchdowns. Nearly averaged a touchdown per game in 2024. I can't wait to see what he does here in Kansas City. How are we feeling, Kingdom? Do you believe in Jalen Royals? Do you think he's going to have a fantastic season? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and let us know what you think. Chiefs training camp is here, folks, and we are covering it like no one else is with our daily news and rumors. We're bringing you breaking news. We're going to have all the highlights and analysis that you need to know from Chiefs training camp. We are your Chiefs training camp headquarters here on the channel. Subscribe now so you stay up to date with everything happening. We got you covered each and every day on the channel, sometimes multiple videos a day. And the best part about it, it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe now, youtube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now for free. Lock us in. You'll be glad you did. Now, this is where I go back to maybe not the best players are ranked 1 through 5 here, but the most intriguing. I can't personally put an offensive lineman as number 1 on the rookies to watch list, but I can say without question that Josh Simmons is the best rookie the Chiefs have, the offensive tackle out of the Ohio State. And the expectation is that he is going to assume the starting left tackle role for the Kansas City Chiefs, that he should beat out Jalen Moore. But can he step up quickly? All right? This is going to be a work in progress for him because, as you all know, I'm not breaking any news by saying this here, Andy just doesn't hand things to you. You have to go out there and earn it. And with a limited small sample size of what we've seen from Josh Simmons over the last couple of months, from mandatory minicamp to OTAs to rookie minicamp and all of that, even with him being limited, the Chiefs coaching staff was pretty impressed with Josh Simmons. But where I hesitate is you go back to last year, they were pretty enamored with Kingsley. We saw how that all worked out, right? It didn't work out so well when he started the season at left tackle here. So can he beat Jalen Moore and get the job done? And also, big picture, make a big difference on this offensive line to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side after a season where Patrick Mahomes was sacked more than any season prior in his career. Simmons, a first-round pick out of Ohio State, was believed by many to be the best offensive lineman in this year's draft. Banged up a little bit, was still a third-team All-Big Ten selection, a part of Ohio State's national championship squad this past season. And one thing that I liked about Josh Simmons in particular was that early on in his career, when he was at San Diego State and such, he kind of had a problem with careless penalties. You know what he did last year? Granted, it was just 300 snaps. He cleaned that up. Only got called for 1 penalty. Did not allow a single sack. Overall grade was solid, 74.4. Pass block grade of 82. Run block grade of 68.7. I'm feeling very good about Josh Simmons. As long as he's healthy, I think they found a good one, a long-term solution potentially there at that left tackle spot. And we've seen, because the Chiefs pick at 32, they've kind of missed out in the past on these opportunities to get high-level offensive linemen, and they capitalized on their chance to get Josh Simmons here trading down with the Eagles there. Number 3, Norman-Lott at the defensive tackle position. The Chiefs drafted him out of Tennessee. And for me, there is a great unknown here. What it reminds me of is, we had the NBA draft a couple of weeks ago. And in the NBA draft, a lot of times you see teams are saying, okay, maybe the body of work wasn't necessarily there, but the player was young or he was limited in his opportunities. We're drafting for potential of what he could turn into and develop. And that's what I see out of Norman-Lott. What role is he going to play exactly? How much does he get time on the football field right away? Because bottom line, the truth of the matter is this, folks. Even though the measurables are all there with Norman-Lott, when we talk about actual production, and we'll show you some stats here in just a moment from Norman-Lott, it really wasn't all there. He played in all 13 games for the Tennessee Volunteers last year, but do you know how many starts he had? 0. Zero for our Spanish friends. He was a Senior Bowl invitee, but there's not a whole lot there. Was not an all-SEC guy, not an all-American or anything. This feels like that the Chiefs are almost throwing a dart against the wall and saying, hey, we understand that Tennessee rotates guys and all of that, Now, let's just hope that we can see more from you at a consistent basis. The thing with Omar Norman-Lott, though, because you have Chris Jones and Mike Pennell and others, let's go back to the numbers that he had in college. All right, 4 sacks, 27 pressures. Year prior to that, 5.5 sacks, 16 pressures, and all that. If he can be that type of player, or maybe he's not an every down guy, but he can come in and apply pressure and make life easier on Chris Jones, and then eventually one day gets promoted to a starting role, I think you can live with that. I think you'd be feeling really good about your spot with Omar Norman-Lott coming in if he can potentially do that and make you feel a lot better about yourselves here. So it is a bit of a risk, but the Chiefs coaching staff seems to be liking what they've seen already from Omar Norman-Lott to this point. Who is your favorite Chiefs rookie? No wrong answers here, but I want you guys to chime in. Give me a name that comes to mind. Is it Josh Simmons? Is it Jalen Royals? Is it somebody else? Let us know in the comment section who your favorite Chiefs rookie is. Number 4 on our list, we're going to go to the 7th round now. This is where we find running back Brashard Smith. And Brashard Smith, I thought, was a really good find for Kansas City in the 7th round. He was somebody that had about a 4th to 5th round grade. So the fact that he was still available in the 7th round was really good for KC. And the way that the running backs had gone with how they had fallen, Brett Veach had some forward thinking where he said, okay, I can take Jeffrey Bassett in the 5th round, the linebacker spot, and I can wait on the running back position, and it paid off getting Brashard Smith. Now, I don't know how much they're going to depend on him, to be honest. I think a lot of it comes down to, okay, is Isaiah Pacheco back to his old self, which I'm confident that he will be, but the proof has got to be in the pudding first. And then Kareem Hunt as a short yardage back. And then, of course, you got Elijah Mitchell there. Where does he fit in? Is he mostly a special teams guy? Is he used primarily as a receiver out of the backfield, as he has tremendous receiving experience? There's a lot of unanswered questions. And don't do this, folks. Just because he's a 7th round pick, by all means, doesn't mean you should write him off. You know who else was a late day 3 pick? Isaiah Pacheco. All right? More on Brashard Smith. 7th round pick out of Southern Miss. You knew that Clark Hunt liked this pick, getting him from his alma mater. First team All-ACC in 2024. He was a first team All-ACC selection in 2023 at 2 different schools, might I add. First year at Miami, second year there at SMU, and playing 2 different positions. He's got a background as both a wide receiver and a running back, which will bode well in Andy Reid's system that loves running backs that can catch the football. You look at his rushing statistics last season, his average yards per carry, fantastic. 5.7, 14 touchdowns, over 1,300 yards. He's a little undersized, but that type of production you can make work with what he was able to do. And then when we talk about him as a receiver as well, when he played wideout at Miami, it was his special teams ability that got him that All-ACC honors. But you can see 300 yards receiving in 2022, 263 in 2023. And then last year as a running back, his numbers were even similar as a receiver to what he did playing the wide receiver spot at Miami as well. Last on our list is Noel Williams, the corner out of Cal. I loved this pick from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was highly productive at Cal last season with 7 interceptions. But you go back to the offseason program, to rookie minicamp and OTAs and mandatory minicamp, Noel Williams really struggled. He had a rough go at it, adapting to how the Chiefs do things and stepping up to playing at the NFL level. Is he starter caliber? Maybe not just yet. He might need a little more time. But he doesn't have to be a starter right away. But when you think about the future, all right, Christian Fulton, I think, is kind of a year-to-year guy. Jalen Watson, we don't know what his future is. It seems highly unlikely that the Chiefs are going to give him a long-term deal, as they've never re-signed a homegrown defensive back. I expect Trent McDuffie to be the first. And so maybe not this year, but at least in 2026 and beyond, I think the hope the goal should be Noah Williams turns into a starting corner for you. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Maybe we don't see him a ton this year, but he's a one to watch down the line. But if he grows in training camp, then his role could potentially grow, and maybe he's got a chance to beat out Christian Fulton potentially for a starting job. More on Noah Williams, a third-round pick out of Cal, a consensus first-team All-American, first-team All-ACC selection. Still sounds weird to be talking about guys from Cal and SMU as All-ACC guys, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Let's take a look at his numbers of what he did throughout his career at Cal, and they are off the charts, my friends. 2024, 7 interceptions, as we mentioned, 17 pass breakups, 52 tackles. The year prior to that, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, 53 tackles. And then his coverage stats, really good. QB rating allowed only a 40.9, just gave up 362 yards with 3 total touchdowns. You can live with that. I was impressed with Noah Williams, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do going forward from here. Brett Veach has had a lot of good drafts over the years, and I think he found some future starters in this draft. Was it his best draft class? You got 2 options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Be honest with me. Sound off in the comments and let us know. This is a fun group, and we didn't even get to talk about everybody today. You guys know I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Bassa. A lot of you like Ashton Gelati, although he wasn't my favorite pick by any stretch, but there's some talent here. Brett Veach did it again, folks, and he knows what he's doing. The guy is a wizard. He's a machine, and I think you're going to like the results, and we're going to start to see those right away here with training camp getting going in the coming days. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the Chiefs Report. All right. We are 1 down, 2 to go. Up next, we'll talk free agent targets. And then we'll do a Q&A rumors mailbag. Go ahead and start getting in your questions now using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Who is your favorite Chiefs rookie? I see Marcos says Jalen Royals is his. Who else? Who's your favorite Chiefs rookie? Weigh in and let us know. Tony says Royals as well. So a very pro Jalen Royals chat, it would seem, based on the reactions that we've gotten so far to this point. Super chat menu, if you'd like to take part in today's show. Whoever sends in the first super chat of the day, I don't care if it's $1 or if it's $500, we're going to show you some love for that first super chat. First-time super chatters get the KC chant. $5, we'll do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get Bean Boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong. $sign next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and get involved in today's show. And there is the first super chat of the day, and it's a good question for the mailbag as well. Very good, Chad. Nicely done with the first super chat of the day. Everybody start spamming Shad. Start spamming Shad for being the first super chatter of the day. And he's got a very good question that he's asking. Let's see. Shad writes in, any scenario Sky Moore makes the final roster? Everybody keeps spamming Shad. Shad, thanks for that super chat. Here's the scenario. Injuries. If Nico, Tyquan Thornton, those guys get banged up, then yeah, Sky might make the final roster. But that's about it. If everybody stays healthy, then it's not looking great for Sky Moore's chances to make the 53-man roster. But you never know. Maybe he's going to pull something out of his ass and show us something we haven't seen before. But I want to count on it, Chad. Chad, thanks for that super chat there. Everybody keeps spamming Chad in the chat. There's the super chat menu. Mailbag coming up in a bit. Use hashtag Chiefs or super chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show in our final segment. Up next, free agent targets ahead of training camp. I got a list of names that the Kansas City Chiefs could potentially sign. We'll show you who those are, and then we'll get to our mailbag to follow after that. More to come as we continue here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Let's continue right now. Training camp is almost here, my friends. And on today's program, we are taking one last look at some potential free agent targets the Chiefs could sign ahead of camp. Now that Trey Smith has been moved off the franchise tag to a contract extension, all of a sudden, $9 more million have opened up for the Chiefs to spend, whether it's in free agency or a trade. Brett Veach has options now. How could they spend it? We'll go over our list of updated free agent targets here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. Man, we are getting attacked all directions here. One day I'm hearing it from Joey Peterson at Ravens Rundown. The guys over at Bills Breakdown, they talk a lot of smack. We hear from our division rivals like Creepy Moose over at Broncos Breakdown and Mitchell Renz, 365 over at the Raiders Report, and Jeremy Chuggs and all that. Now I got Stone Shields. That's not his real name, by the way. That is a fake name, which adds up. That's a fact. If you need any more information, I'll tell you all about it, about that fraud. Now he's trying to say we can't get 50 subs off today's video. Who do you think you are, Stone Shields? His real name's like Bill or something like that. I'll have to do some research. But don't let this fraud stand in our way. Let's get at least 50 subs off today's video for more training camp content, daily news and rumors, live shows, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. Prove him wrong. Don't let me down. Back me up on this, folks. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Then we'll get started with today's show. Big move coming. Brett Veach has had a hell of an offseason, my friends. And what does he have in store next? We are going to go over the top free agent targets for the Kansas City Chiefs ahead of training camp as they potentially could make one more big move. And let's begin with Justin Simmons. We already got a Josh Simmons. Why not a Justin Simmons? Make things real confusing with the JSs, right? So Justin Simmons did this interview with the very lovely Kay Adams of FanDuel Sports Network a couple months ago. Sup, Kay, if you're watching. Hi. And one of the things that he talked about was he said, hey, you know, I had all this history with the Denver Broncos, and I would like to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, go somewhere where I can take them down. But I'm also open to the possibility of joining them as well. What's the old adage? If you can't beat them, join them. Well, Justin Simmons is intrigued. And he is a sneaky good football player. This is the second straight offseason that we're sitting here late into the ball game, and he still doesn't have a place to call home yet. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me of why he's still available at this juncture. And coming off a pretty decent season with Atlanta and a really good run with the Denver Broncos here. And here's another thing. I know that I've sat here and I have told you that I'm very high on Jaden Hicks and Brian Cook. Simmons can be your number 3 safety and be on the field with those guys. He'd be better than Mike Edwards. And Mike Edwards could be a depth piece. Basically, I say all this to say, yes, there is still a spot where Simmons can be used within this defense. Let's get to know Justin Simmons a little further. Previously played for the Falcons and the Broncos, a 4-time second-team All-Pro. That's like, you know, coming so close, but not getting the cigar at the very end of all those first teams. Probably should have gotten at least one in that stretch, but I digress. 2019, 2021 through 2023. 2-time Pro Bowler in 2020 and in 2023. And he was the NFL's interceptions co-leader with 6 in 2022. And the production has been there time and time again for Justin Simmons in his career. As you can see, 2 interceptions last year. 2023, 3 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. 2022, when he tied for the league lead in interceptions with 6 and 3 forced fumbles. 2021, 5 interceptions. He is a turnover machine. And as much as I like this Chiefs defense, if there's one thing in particular I'd like to see more of, it's turnovers. Justin Simmons could be a big help in that department. Time to put your GM hat on, folks, and let us know. Should the Chiefs sign Justin Simmons? Type S for sign, P for pass. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know which way you lean towards, if they should sign Simmons or not. Another player that I can't believe is still available is Amari Cooper, the wide receiver, most recently with the Buffalo Bills, who's had a very good career. Now, compared to other players, this is not a necessity. This is a luxury. You don't have to have Amari Cooper. It wouldn't hurt. It'd be nice if you had Amari Cooper, but it's not something that you can't live without. I feel pretty good about this receiving core with Rashee Rice looking like a top 10 receiver, Xavier Worthy coming off a strong second half of the season, Hollywood's healthy, you drafted Jalen Royals, you got Juju back. You don't have to have Amari Cooper, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. And here's another thing for all my friends out there to keep in mind. As we go through this offseason, Amari Cooper was believed to have a very high price tag just a couple of months ago. He still remains out there, and teams have less and less money to spend. So in theory, Amari Cooper's price tag should continue to keep on dropping, and the Chiefs now have more money since they took care of Trey Smith. Maybe now you have a window to potentially get Amari Cooper that you didn't have before. More on Amari Cooper previously with the Bills, Browns, Cowboys, and Raiders. Remember when the Cowboys traded him, Jerry gave up on him, settled for a fourth-round pick, and then he just lit it up with the Browns? Then he goes to the Browns, finds the fountain of youth, and then gets traded to the Bills, and he was a bit banged up and didn't have a great run in Buffalo last year. Chiefs thought about trading for him last year. I think based on the way things went, they're probably glad they didn't because of the price tag that would have cost. But with that said, a very good career. 5-time Pro Bowler, all-rookie team selection in 2015. And his numbers, it's not too long ago that you look at Amari Cooper playing at an extremely high level with over 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns. Is he likely to be that player again? Probably not. But I still think he's better than what we saw last year when he had 44 catches for 547 yards. If he played like he did in 2023 and in 2022, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. But in this Chiefs offense, with where they're at receiver-wise, they don't need him to do that. They just need him to be better than what he was last year for Buffalo. Should the Chiefs sign Amari Cooper? Sound off in the comments and let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in, tell me what you think if they should make a move for Amari Cooper or not. Chiefs fans, I have a great deal for you, folks. It is an insane deal. INSANE. This Chiefs hoodie at one point in time was $55. And then you know what happened? I worked my magic. And I consulted our shipping department, and I said, this thing needs to go on sale. How about $33? And our people said, you know what, Tyler? That's a great idea. You're full of such great ideas. You just want everybody to be wearing Chiefs gear. Let's do it. So I worked my magic. Now here's your chance to take advantage of it. Chatsports.com/Chiefs sale. It is a little warm, I understand, but it's short sleeve. All right? And if you do need to put it in the closet for a bit, you'll thank yourself later for the money you saved. $22. You can buy 2 pizzas with that. Chatsports.com/Chiefs sale to get yours today. All sorts of different shapes and sizes. We also have other Chiefs merchandise available at that same link. Go see for yourself now. Chatsports.com/Chiefs sale to get yours today. Last on our list is edge rusher Zadarius Smith, 32 years of age. And another thing that I have said that you all can quote me on, you can put this on your motivational quote chart on your fridge or whatever it may be, is what? You can never have too many pass rushers. And I hate to say it, but I just don't know what the Chiefs are going to get out of King Felix and some of these other guys. And last year, pass rush was full of peaks and valleys. It was very much up and down. Things were good, and things were not so good. And I would like to see some more consistency. And Zadarius Smith could potentially do that. He's been a journeyman. He's played for the Ravens, the Packers, the Vikings, the Browns, the Lions. Maybe the Chiefs can't give him the best offer. But they can offer him something that not a whole lot of other people can, and that is a guaranteed opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl. So that might be convincing enough to get him to take less money. A three-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2022, second-team All-Pro selection in 2020. And although he is 32 years old, I'm a year away from 30, so I don't feel old, but I guess in football terms, I'm starting to get old. He still is showing up and showing out. Here's what I'm talking about, folks. Last year, playing for two different teams, Cleveland and Detroit, with all that Little Caesars pizza up there and everything, pizza. He still managed to have 9 sacks and 17 QB hits. Woo, doggies. Year prior to that, 5.5 sacks, 20 QB hits. 2022, 10 sacks, 24 QB hits. 2020, 12.5 sacks, 23 QB hits. Can you imagine, my friends, what 9 more sacks would mean for this defense? 9 more. Now you have my attention. Zadarius Smith, you sign with the Chiefs. You come with your 9 sacks, all those potatoes, then we're feeling really good about the direction where this defense is going from here. All right, so those are my 3 free agent targets. If you had to pick one to sign, are you going with Justin Simmons? Are you going with Amari Cooper? Or are you going with Zadarius Smith? Type JS for Justin Simmons. Type AC for Amari Cooper. Type ZS for Zadarius Smith. Weigh in. Let me know which one you would choose from. For more Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. There we go. 2 down, 1 to go. Our final segment is ahead. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Last call for our mailbag segment. Please get all your questions in. Super Chat menu as well while I pop another Zen here. Today, I say Zen. I'm going with zones. I got the dragon fruits today, 9s. Super Chat menu. First time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5, we give you a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get Bean Boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong $sign next to the chat box. If you would like to contribute and take part in today's program, you can do so that way. And get us some more questions. I'm going to put about 2 minutes on the clock. Give me about 2 or 3 more questions. And then we can get this mailbag started and answer whatever is on your mind. You want to talk training camp? You want to talk trades? Free agency? I want all of it, folks. Give me all the smoke. All the smoke. Get your questions in now. I know Tony's got some questions. Paul, get some questions in. Richard, Marcos, Timothy, help me out. Let's get more questions. I need about 2 or 3 more, and then we can begin this mailbag segment, and then we'll wrap up and call it a day. Tony's saying, Tyler, if I can sub again, I would. Tony, start another count. Sub off that. You can do it so that way. Maybe go subscribe on mom or dad's YouTube account. Make sure they're subscribed as well, as we are on the road to 73,000 subscribers. We're less than 400 away from reaching that mark. Get me some more questions, whatever is on your mind. Oh, that works. Cool. Yeah. All right. Text says we're good on questions, but you can still submit more if you guys want. And we'll answer them coming up in just a moment. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Appreciate y'all being here. This live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Earlier, we talked about Trey Smith. If you missed that breakdown of his contract, that is up on the channel. You can go watch that video once we are done with this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. So check that out once we get done here after our final segment. Mailbag time, hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Let's answer your questions and continue with our final segment. Tyler Jones, Big Tex here with you. Yes, Tex. Yeah, sure. Cool. All right, Let's get rocking and rolling, shall we, my friends? Rumors mailbag time starts right now. Here we go. Welcome in to this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am the somewhat capable host, your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this mailbag show. And I've already taken a look at the mailbag this week. You guys are asking me about guys like Juwan Jennings and Travis Etienne as far as potential trades and some other things going on. So we're also talking training camp and a couple other things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Our first question in the mailbag this week comes from Shad, who writes, in any scenario, Sky Moore makes the final roster. Well, at this point, it's not looking good for Sky Moore. He's had plenty of chances. There was a lot of excitement about Sky Moore as a second-round pick from a Chiefs receiver room that was searching for a lot of answers. Opportunity has been there. He has not capitalized. He struggled to stay healthy. And when he's been out there, he's not looked good at all. With that said, there is still a chance he makes the roster. It's a slim chance. It's a chance nonetheless. Whether it's an injury to Tyquan Thornton or Nico, something like that, that could be his way. Or he just balls out and shows us something that he hasn't shown in 3 or 4 years since he's been there. But it's not looking great for Sky Moore. He's got his work cut out for him, but there's still a slight chance he could make it. We'll see how things play out. Chad, thanks for that $2 super chat. Much appreciated. Tony, checking in. Tony, you got your questions in. You happy? You better be. Hashtag Chiefs. Tyler, I know I said this before, but before training camp begins, what are the best free agents the Chiefs can go out and get? We have talked about this on the channel quite a bit, and at the time of this recording, you got guys like Justin Simmons, Amari Cooper, Zadarius Smith. You could go offensive line potentially and go with a Dalton Reisner, and the Chiefs have more money to spend. They freed up about $9 million with that Trey Smith deal. So will they? We'll see. But the opportunity is there, Tony, for them to do so if they shall choose. Folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed, but you are a part of what we call the Noti Gang around here. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on. They're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. So just to kind of give you an inside baseball, if you've never been a part of our mailbags before, we answer these live in real time on our weekly live shows. So when you have your notifications turned on, you're going to know instantly when we go live here on the channel, and I will answer your question right as you send it. It's magic, folks. Oh, wait. Oh, it's magic. Not Ozempic. They did some dorky spin-off song, but you get the idea. Subscribe now. Join the Noti Gang. Turn on notifications. Hit that Noti bell. And join the Noti Gang. If you're part of that Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV and turn on notifications. Dr. Alan Grant writes in, fearless leader. Hello, Alan Grant. Could the Chiefs trade for Juwan Jennings? So, another note, at the time of this recording, Juwan Jennings made it very clear to the San Francisco 49ers. He said, extend me or trade me. Do one or the other. All right? So, he's made his intentions known. And the Niners are an interesting pickle here because they paid Brock Purdy all that money, and they had to move on from Deebo Samuel. They might have to move on from Brandon Ayuk, and you still got some other high-profile names that are being paid, like Bosa and Trent Williams and George Kittle and others here. Eventually, there's not going to be enough money to go around. And I'll say this, I like Brock Purdy, but I don't like Brock Purdy on a $250+ million contract. Brock Purdy's fine on a rookie deal. I don't like the idea of him getting franchise money, but hey, that's the Niners' prerogative. They want to do that by all means. So then guys like Juwan Jennings want to get paid. And the Niners might not have that money to pay a guy like that. And Juwan Jennings is coming off a career year, his best season in San Francisco with close to 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 77 catches. I would be surprised, though, if Kansas City wanted to make a move for Juwan Jennings. I think that Juwan Jennings, folks, is one of those guys that's good but not great. He's somebody that if you're at the club on a Saturday night, he doesn't get allowed into the main club. But he can go next door to Bottle Blonde, and they'll let him in there. And he'll have a good time. He'll perform well. He'll find some ladies, but he'll have to settle for the 8s instead of getting the 10s at the main club in town. So I don't see them trading for Juwan Jennings, the guy that's not going to get in the main club. Should the Chiefs trade for Juwan Jennings? Type T for trade, P for pass. Put your GM hat on. Weigh in on our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. Paul writes in Brashard Smith, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 30 catches, 300 yards. Is that on Madden? Because that's not happening in 2025. No way. No way in hell. People in the comments. This is kind of a impromptu weigh-in, I guess. Can you name the Chiefs' last 1,000-yard rusher? It's been a minute. It's been a while since the Chiefs had somebody rush for 1,000 yards. Pacheco's never done that. He's come close, but no cigar. I know who it is, but I will not give it away. So, first off, 1,100 yards, even if he beats out Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and Elijah Mitchell to be RB1, highly unlikely he's not getting 1,100 yards. 15 touchdowns? When's the last Chiefs running back to have 15 touchdowns? Honestly, I can't name that off the top of my head, but it's been a minute. 30 catches, 300 yards. Still no, although he is a very good receiving back. I like Brashard Smith. I really do. He could be the RB1 someday. But probably not now, and probably not those type of numbers. Paul, best of luck to you on Madden 26 with Brashard Smith. Bruce Wayne writes in, what about a trade for Travis Etienne Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars? So, a lot of people are still uncertain about this running back position. You know, what's Pacheco going to be? How much does Kareem Hunt have left? Should they evaluate other options here? Well, now I introduce you to Travis Etienne, who had back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns in 2022 and in 2023. Last year was a down year, although he was on just an awful team with a terrible offensive line and rushed for less than 600 yards and 3.7 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. It all depends on the price tag, all right? If I only had to give up like a 6th or 7th round pick, I'd be open to potentially moving for Travis Etienne. I'm not doing anything else other than that. And then you got to figure out if you want to extend him. Is he a rental potentially? It all depends on the price. I'm open to that discussion, but I would put that unlikely that the Chiefs are trading for Travis Etienne. Sound off! Should the Chiefs trade for Travis Etienne? Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in the comment section. Tell us if you think they should trade for him or not. Let me know. Cole writes in, did the hashtag Chiefs simply add 4 years to the franchise tag, which would make it a 5-year extension total, or did they just rip up the franchise tag? So he is referring to Trey Smith. Let me go over these details. I'm glad you asked, and I have that for you. So here's what happened in a nutshell. The franchise tag is gone. It is gone now. It's been basically removed. All right? We've gone topless now. We're showing our titties here. Franchise tag's gone. So now it's basically a new 4-year deal at this point, okay? 4 years, $94 million, 70 guaranteed. And then when we talk about the cap situation, here's what's also changed, okay? Now what you've done is you have gone from the franchise tag number and spread out that money over time, where Trey Smith is only going to take a cap hit of $14.25 million this year. So you've saved $9.15 million with giving Trey Smith this deal. And he's very deserving when you look at his numbers. Coming off the best season of his career, a Pro Bowl campaign, still very young and all of that as well. It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. The most ever given to an offensive guard. The most guaranteed money we've ever seen an offensive guard get. But because he just now had his best season, What you're investing, as Brett Veach is saying, that there's still better days ahead, that he's going to continue to play at a high level for a long time. I think it was a no-brainer. I like the move, and I like what it does for the cap situation for Seattle. Ricardo. Hashtag Chiefs. Richard, anybody call you Ricardo? I might start calling you Ricardo. Hashtag Chiefs. Who do you think will be the number one tight end if and when Kelsey retires? Well, Noah Gray, I think, is arguably the best number 2 tight end in the league. Him and Isaiah Likely are that. But he would be on the bottom end of number 1 tight ends if he were to be that. So I would think that when they move on from Kelsey, that someone else is going to come in, whether it's a rookie or an outside veteran. I would say Jared Wiley has a better chance of being the future number 1 tight end than Noah Gray does. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Noah Gray. I think Noah Gray, we've already seen the best that we could potentially see out of Noah Gray. And I like Noah Gray. I'm glad he's still here. But it will be somebody not named Noah Gray would be my answer to that. Last question. Marcos writes in, do you think that the Chiefs will win in week 1? Against the Chargers in Brazil? Of course. Of course they do. Chargers are a good football team. I like Jim Harbaugh. I like Justin Herbert. They got a lot of talent. I thought they had a very good offseason. But the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC. They own this division. They've won 9 straight division titles. I don't think that changes. I think they get their 10th straight, and they started on a high note with a win against the LA Chargers there in Brazil. They love the international games, love being on the big stage. Clark Hunt says they want this team to be on the world stage, be the world's team, and I think they'll show up and show out and perform well week 1 in Brazil. For more Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. That does it for this live edition of the Chiefs Report. Thank you all for being here with us. We'll have more coverage on the channel throughout the coming days ahead. No live show next week. I am taking a much-needed vacation before football season off to Phoenix, but I'll still have plenty of updates from the road as well, so stay tuned for that. For Big Tex, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.